back, Robert. Sorry
Right,
about that.
we're on.
Technical issues this end. Apologies to make you repeat everything that you probably
just
said. Just give us a sense of whether you've seen any marked change in the players after that win last week.
No, it's always nice when you get a win, isn't it? You know, the sport we're in, the profession we're in. It's about winning. It's about winning, whether you win ugly or win pretty. Generally, morale in the camp's a little bit better. And do you know what? I felt like we were really good in the Lee build-up. After the game, the morale after that performance at Lee were really good. But it's always nice to get a win. It's always nice. So yeah, it's been a little bit more of a spring in everyone's step this week.
You admitted it was a very difficult team to pick last week. Just judging on the squad, I assume it's similarly challenging to put a side out this week.
Yeah, it's not difficult because pretty much there's not many options, if I'm honest. We haven't got many options, and like I said, when you lose your captain who's an 80-minute player, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But once again, the lads that played rose to the occasion. I thought they were brilliant in the performance. So yeah, fingers crossed we can do that again this week.
I neglected to ask you last week, obviously in the wake of Luke Yates' departure, who does get the the club captaincy?
Leroy. I think Leroy stands for everything that's good about the Giants. Everything, he's a one club man. He's represented England. He's played at the highest standard. But not only that, for anybody who knows Leroy, he's 100% committed to everything he does. He genuinely loves the club, and a lot of times players talk about if they won the national lottery, would they still play the game? And if I'm being honest, probably 80%, 70% say, nah, they'd be in the Bahamas, feet up, and Leroy, unequivocally, within a flash, just like, no, I'd turn up for training, I'd be ready, I'd be doing the video, I'd be doing my rehab, my prehab, getting ready to play that next week, and he genuinely believes that as well. So yeah, I think Leroy's the perfect man for the job at this moment in time.
A lovely touch, lovely quote as well. That you alluded to Ollie Wilson season being over last week. He's now been confirmed. How big a blow is that? Not just for you, but for him as well.
No, he's an England player. He's one of his England players who's been forcing his way into to win his squad. He's probably one of the best carriers, I think, forward carriers in the league. He leaves people skittled. He gets the ruck humming and getting you on the front foot. He's really aggressive defensively, and it's obviously a bitter blow for him. He's something we as a club, we as a group really need. We could do with him, him playing for us. But yeah, not only that, for him on a personal note, it's, he probably wants to kick on from the international mid-season international and pave his way in as a regular in the international scene. So yeah, really disappointing for both him and us.
Just on the squad, Robert, you've brought Connor Carr into the 21. How close is he to potentially featuring either this week or before the end of the season? Yeah,
he's played very limited rugby this year. He's got the hard way about it. We got released, not released from us. We kept him within our group, but there were, especially after COVID and things, there were clubs weren't always giving out reserve, and were they going to be a reserve? And he probably fell in that little group of players really that were probably no fault of his own, but they were a little bit of no one really knew what were going to be going on in rugby league, whether clubs were going to be running the reserves or not. And Andy Kelly kept him in because he saw something in him which were great. But he's gone the hard way, got himself a job, did an apprenticeship, played at numerous clubs in the divisions below us, and started playing for Bradford this year and played pretty well. Unfortunately for him, he's been hit with injuries. So again, if I had my, in a perfect scenario, I wouldn't even put him anywhere near the squad. I'd let him play some games, either loan him out or play for our reserves and play some actual games and get some game minutes under his belt before we put him in. But yeah, where we're at within the squad, it's a bit like, can you run? Oh, you can run, right, you're in.
What is stopping you, just on the subject of youngsters, what's stopping you with what remains of this season, putting in the likes of Connor and obviously you've got Aidan McGowan in there at the moment, Billington, young Bibby. What's stopping you putting those guys in and blooding them ahead of next season?
And there's a little bit of that, and do you know what? We still want to put some good performances out for the fans. Whenever we can pick up 2 points, that's the end goal at the end of the day. And also you've got to be really conscious. Throwing too many young lads in is a little bit like throwing lambs to the slaughter, and I'm a big believer in English talent and having a pathway through, and I think Huddersfield Giants have shown that with the lads that have represented England over the last few years and in the NRL, that we do have a pathway here, but you've got to be very conscious to throw 9, 10 young players that aren't physically ready to the likes of Saints and Wigan, and when you go up against Matty Lees and all them types of players, they'll show no mercy, they'll batter you. No matter who goes up against them, they'll batter you. So we've got to be very conscious that, yes, we want to blood some youngsters through and give an opportunity, but we've also got to we don't want to hinder the development either.
I didn't mention Darius Carter as well, he's obviously on the fringe as well. Just on a personal level, Robbo, are you any the wiser as to your own personal circumstances at the moment? You've got a smile on your face, is that good news?
No, it's not, It's still in the exact same position we was last week, where I'm trying to prepare the squad for a game, make them better players, and the powers that be have obviously, there'll be in discussions regarding other matters, but yeah, I'm none the wiser.
So you, as we sit here now, you've not had your sort of sit down and chance to state your claim with the higher ups yet?
No, I tried a little bit this week, but there are a lot. Obviously, the club's been very busy, and the people above me are very busy, and they've got stuff going on. So, yeah, been delayed.
We'll keep waiting and watching and asking you as well. What about Leeds then? What do you expect from Leeds, and how big a game is this for both sides?
I think it's massive. They're in a transitional period. They've got a new coach as well, and I think if you look at their performances since he's come in, especially last week, they were really hard done to last week. They were in that game. They looked like they were going to want to win it actually against a very good opposition. And you also look at the squad. Look at the 21 they've put out this week. It's littered with stars. They've got England internationals in there. They've got international captains in there. They've got lads that have played NRL. They've got Man of Steel winners in there. I think they're missing Fuss Two. They're missing Allroyd. We actually go through the rest of the side. I think there might only be one or two others that are missing. They've got a pretty good squad to pick from, and you can definitely see the improvements since Brad Arthur's come in. They seem to be a little bit more conservative in their approach, but they've still got really good individuals that can turn the game on the head in an instant.
And in the past, it's the retro round, isn't it, this week? So there's a lot of looking back over recent fixtures. And when you look back over some of the recent fixtures between Leeds and Huddersfield, there's obviously been some big ones. You think of the Ryan Hall try at the John Smith Stadium, etc., etc.
Yeah, that was my second to last ever game. So
was
yeah,
it wasn't, was it?
Yeah, thanks for reminding me. We lost that game. I think we went to Wigan the week after, then away instead, and we lost to Wigan in the semi-final, get to grand final. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up.
Oh, sorry, mate. I thought you might have forgotten about it by now.
No,
I mean that was some occasion. It looked like you'd wrap that all up, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. But do you know what? These games, if you look, particularly I think in the last 10 games, there hasn't been anything between us. I think the one at the beginning of this year, but in the previous seasons, it might be the last 11 games, there's been like 4 points or less. So for any neutral out there wanting to watch a good game this weekend, probably not good for my nerves, but generally they're pretty close affairs and they go down to the wire.
And there've been some pretty spiky ones as well. I think of Ryan Bailey and Luke O'Donnell getting sent off, O'Donnell's ripped shirt and all that sort of thing. Why do these games sort of bring the best out of both sides, do you think?
I don't know if that was my fault. I kept getting knocked out.
Were you involved again?
I was, not in the fighting, I was just the instigator, as you can tell. I think I got knocked off the ball the week before, and basically came out and sort of spoke to us middles. We had Stu Fielden and Luke O'Donnell at the time, saying our half-backs aren't getting protected, you better start protecting them and all. I've never felt as protected in my life when Luke O'Donnell and Stu Fielden are there behind you. And safe to say I went on to win that game. So yeah, I think me and the other halves and hookers were getting knocked off the ball a fair bit, so pretty much you give them a bit of a licence to go and whack the other forwards, which I'm more than happy about at the time. But yeah, they've been pretty spicy affairs. It's a local derby at the end of the day. We're not too far in proximity to each other, and yeah, they've been really good occasions.
I remember that now. Brownie was coach, wasn't he?
Yes.
And he made a big thing in the press conference, didn't he, leading up to that, about how the halves were getting hit. I mean, it wouldn't happen now, would it? But
yeah, I think I don't know if Sean O'Loughlin tried knocking me out. Well, I got knocked out, but I carried on playing. That was just a modern game then. But Locker's knocked me out, my mate, the week before. I think it might have been at Magic or a couple of weeks before. So we're a bit like, right, this is what's going on now.
Yeah, they were very, very different times, Robert.
There was very different times.
Just lastly, you've got 9 games left. I mean, some coaches always say they don't look at the table, but with 9 games left and 6 at home, is there an opportunity still there?
Oh, whenever there's an opportunity, of course you want to strive to get there. You know, I've always been a player and a coach that wants players to play for the full 80 minutes, for the full season, and give their all every game. And like I say, and there's a very old cliche, and John Wilkin were laughing at me the other week when I said it, but we are the situation we're in regarding as injuries and as playing roster and everything else. He's literally just taking one game at a time. But if you keep knocking some wins together, and while it's attainable, of course we're going to strive to try and do the best for ourselves and for the club.